Story 1. I was in a crowded karaoke bar with a bunch of coworkers, and a dude kept looking at me. He walked over and said, "Hey, tell your friend I think she's cute." Then he nodded over to my reflection in the mirrored wall. Caught me off guard in the most adorable way. I'm smiling right now thinking about it. Story 2. Girl I used to very briefly work with dropped a piece of paper on the ground while I was behind her. I picked it up and said, "Hey, you dropped something." She turned around and said, "It's for you." It was her name and number. Kind of silly, but I always thought it was so cool. Haha. Story 3. I was very intently looking at hot sauces at the grocery store, and a guy walked past me, winked, and went, "You are what you eat." He caught himself by surprise at how smooth it was, giggled, and walked away. Estimated time of arrival. What the heck? Thanks for the likes. May you all find the courage to deliver such smooth lines or the luck for them to be delivered to you. Story 4. I used to draw tic-tac-toe on a napkin, walk to a girl at a table, and place it down with a pen and my X in the center. I'd write phone number if you win, and I'd get the number almost every time. I always ruined it later by having a terrible personality and no money. Story 5. I asked a girl that I was friends with and had a crush on if she wanted to go to the movies, and she said yes. When I asked her what she wanted to watch, she said it doesn't matter. We won't be watching the movie. In my mind, I was like, damn, laugh out loud. Story 6. In college, a friend of mine used to go out with a toothbrush as a prop. When he saw a girl he liked, he would put it in his front shirt pocket and approach them. They would always say, "Why do you have a toothbrush in your pocket?" And he would reply, "Well, I'm not going to use yours in the morning, am I?" Always got a laugh. Sometimes got him more. Story 7. A girl at work that I hadn't yet been out with asked, "When are you taking me out on our second date?" I said, "Second." She responds, "Yeah, because I don't sleep with someone on the first date." Story 8. My buddy's brother saw a cutie sitting with her friends in Dairy Queen. As he ordered at the counter, he purchased an ice cream cake, had the staff write his number on it in icing, and then deliver it to her. She received it and saw him as he was leaving. He winked at her as he walked out the door. It worked. Story 9. I was out on a not date with my friend during a staycation, when she said, "You know you can kiss me if you want." I mean, I wasn't sure it was a hint, but I took my chances. 18 years on, still married. Story 10. Mate of mine had cards made up with the text, "If you would like to have sex with me," next line smile in larger text, and underneath in smaller text, "Else please return this card." Remarkably successful. Story 11. I was working at the student tech support desk back during undergraduate years ago. A graduate student calls in complaining that her internet connection is not working. I ask a handful of questions and hypothesize that it is either a hardware issue with her Ethernet port, a faulty Ethernet cable, or an issue with the connection in her dorm room. I told her she is welcome to bring her computer and cable into the office, and I will check it out for her. Long story short, we figure out that the issue is her cable. I tell her I can sneak her one of ours but would appreciate it if she did not tell anyone, because we have a policy of not handing out free cables so we do not get bombarded with requests for them. Without skipping a beat, she said, "Huh, strange policy. You should tell me more about it over dinner." I smiled and wrote my number on a scrap of paper to pass to her. My coworker sitting next to me practically fell off his chair. Story 12. I was walking down my college campus, headphones in, enjoying a spring morning. I had "Stayin' Alive" by the Bee Gees playing from my iPod. It must have changed my walk and confidence because a female student gave me a leer and said, "Yeah, strut your stuff, stud." I was so taken aback I didn't respond, but I still love the moment all these years later. Story 13. Hey, met this lady who insisted I call her Biscuits. After about an hour of conversation, I just flat out asked her, "Why biscuits?" Turned out that if I buttered her up enough, she'd be ready for the sausage. Story 14. I was pulling up to the gas pump, and it kind of looked like I was going to hit him with my truck. So when I got out, I apologized for that. He said, "Oh, no worries." He paused, You are gorgeous, by the way. I smiled and blushed, looking away. Damn, you got a nice smile too. You probably get that all the time though, don't you? I jokingly said, not nearly enough, still smiling. Daryl, you want to. It is one of my favorite memories to look back on. Story 15. I was at a company event, and one decent-looking coworker walked up to an attractive woman at the pool and invited her back to his room during our lunch break. She said yes. Everyone who was there was shocked at how quickly it worked for him. Everyone also didn't know that his girlfriend had taken the week off to stay at the hotel with him and was hanging out around the pool. Story 16. I was early dating a guy. He was busy with work and said he couldn't meet for drinks. I said maybe we can meet for coffee. He said, baby, I'd meet you at a Salt Lick. We've been married 18 years. Story 17. A younger man was interested in me, and I mentioned that our age gap made me feel a little weird. And he just went, that's fine, mamas. But you know I could always use some of your wisdom. Story 18. Had a guy staring at me at a party for hours and just had a slightly dazed smile on his face the whole time. I finally approached him and asked if there was a problem. He replied, no, there is absolutely no problem. I asked what was up with the staring. His reply was, you are simply the most beautiful, vibrant woman I've ever seen, and I can't take my eyes off you. The way he said it, he sounded awestruck. We dated for several months. Story 19. I shared so many corny pickup lines with a girl I met during a conference that she laughed a lot. Afterward, we spoke a bit about work. The next day, I got a text asking if I was free to hang out. Story 20. I had a buddy at St. Patrick's Day wear a shirt that said, "Want to see my Lucky Charms?" And multiple girls asked him. He obliged. So maybe not a pickup line, but a pickup shirt? Story 21. One of my favorite subtle ones is in passing. You ask, "Are you feeling good?" After they respond, you say, "You're looking good." It's not a crazy banger, but it's unexpected. Story 22. I did an accidental one once. It was a time in college where I was doing a lot of Latin, and I met a girl at a one-off lecture event. She said, "Hi, my name's Amanda." And I said, "Oh, cool." In Latin, that means the girl to be loved. Then she kind of giggled, but I wasn't trying to give her a pickup line. I was trying to give her a Latin fact. Story 23. I once jokingly said to a guy I liked, "Would you like a lollipop?" "Yes." "Then come and get it." And I stuck out my tongue with a lollipop on it. 1.5 years together. Story 24. One time I went to the grocery store and got a ton of limes. Like a literal ton of limes. So much so that I could barely carry all of them. I walked up to this one girl and just started dropping the limes. I tried to pick them up, but the sheer amount of limes in my arms led me to drop more than I managed to pick up. She decided to help me, but to no avail. I looked at her and said, "Sorry, I'm really bad at picking up limes." Story 25. Man. Excuse me. My phone is dead, and I need to call my girlfriend. Can I borrow yours? Woman. Isn't your girlfriend going to be suspicious of you calling from another woman's phone? Man. Nah, she is confident in who she is. She doesn't get caught in mind games like that. Too smart. Gives him her phone. He dials his own number. When his phone starts ringing, man. Hold on. I gotta take this. Hands back her phone. It's my girlfriend. Hey, great to hear from you. Story 26. Point of view. On New Year's Eve in 2009, I had just turned 21 and was at a crowded random bar. A beautiful redhead came to the bar next to me. We made eye contact and she smiled. Me. Can I buy you a drink? Her. I'm 45. Me staring blankly. Me too. What are you drinking? She relented and let me buy her a drink, and I ended up hooking up with her. She was actually 45, and I ended up working with her son at a restaurant later that year. Story 27. I had met a girl at a friend's birthday party, and we were texting a little bit. I had to stay late at work one night and mentioned that to her. Her. That sucks. Me. Yeah. But at least they are providing dinner for us. Her. You cannot turn down a free dinner. Me. Speaking of, Would you like to go out to dinner sometime? Her never responded. I thought she had given me the perfect opening. Story 28. I was out rollerblading at the local roller rink last summer with my kiddo. I'm a single mom. While he was taking a break from skating and hanging out in the arcade, I was doing some laps around the rink. This one guy on roller skates zoomed up to my side, spun around, and started skating backwards, facing me and smiling. After taking a corner and him still skating backwards facing me, we finally said hi to each other. I asked, "Why are you skating backwards?" He said, "I just wanted to make sure you are just as beautiful from the front as you are from the back, and you didn't disappoint," winked, and turned around to face forward again. The guy was cute. If my kid was with his dad that day, I might have asked the guy's name and number, but I opted to grab an IC and some nachos with my son instead. Good time either way. Story 29. I was walking home with a six-pack of beer for myself. I'm not a very physically attractive person and don't get hit on ever. Really, this conventionally smoking dude bro walking past me was a bit of an exception. He goes, "Oh, where's the party?" I make a mean charcuterie board and have some killer brie from Holland, then promptly asked for my number. I'm in a long-term relationship, so I declined, but it was so casual and sweet. He just gave me a fist bump, said he hoped I have a great night, and strutted off with a grin. Legend says he's out here making dope charcuterie boards to this day, boosting the confidence of self-loathing people who like to wallow in cheese. Story 30. You don't want to kiss me because you just want to have sex with me. I'm a 16-year-old guy at a party, and some random girl grabbed me, pulled me up some steps, and said those exact words. I'm thinking I'm about to get in trouble as soon as she takes me into the bedroom, but I wasn't exactly thinking straight at that point and said, "Forget it." 3 minutes later, I was leaving that bedroom with a big smile on my face. The 90s were crazy. Story 31. I love telling this story. My best friend works in janitorial supplies. He stopped to order a case of toilet paper and noticed the receptionist was very attractive. He came back in with a roll of soft two-ply and wrote his number on it, saying, "This is special for you. Text me when you need a refill." As soon as he left, she texted him, and they went out that night. Story 32. Before I was married, I used to tell a woman, "Your boyfriend or husband is very lucky to have a woman like you in his life." They will either say, "Yes, he is," or they will say, "I don't have a boyfriend or a husband." Story 33. Not told but did the telling. I had a crush on a barista, and when nobody was in line, I went up to the counter. She asked me what I wanted, and I said, "A minute of your time would be nice." Unfortunately, she had a boyfriend, so nothing happened, but it's probably one of the smoothest lines I've attempted on someone. Story 34. The one I love is hearing how Jason Sudeikis picked up Olivia Wilde. Whatever you're looking for, you don't need it and just walked away. Story 35. While I was in Vietnam on vacation, I met some expatriates at a bar. Her, "How long are you here for?" Me, "Just 10 days. Her, "You're what we call a sex tourist." Me, "That's not entirely inaccurate." I'm not sure which of us was smoother, but it was a good night. Story 36. Are you married? The one and only pickup line I ever got. I played in a locally popular cover band, and in my mid to later 50s, a slightly older woman with a cane came up to the stage and talked with me as I was packing up my gear after the show. She was regaling me with stories of being at Woodstock, and I was starstruck. She said her goodbyes and left. A few minutes later, she limped up again and simply asked me, "Are you married?" I showed her my ring and shrugged. She shrugged too, said, "Too bad," and walked away into the night. I often think about Woodstock Lady and the kind of night we might have spent together. Story 37. I have no idea if it works, but it sounds cute. You point and tell a girl there's a guy over there that thinks she's cute, and then run over to where you pointed and wave. Story 38. 4 of us Texans were in Aberdeen waiting to go offshore to do a major project. Another guy flew in from Alaska to join us. He was single and kind of shy, but this really pretty girl was giving him the eye. He told me that he wanted to approach her but didn't know what to say. I told him to just ask her if she's ever been to Alaska. He did and spent the night with her. Every time after that, when any of us wanted to meet some cute girl, we would ask her that question. Funny to say, it worked most of the time. Story 39. During a casual lunch with a guy I was interested in, he said simply, "I like spending time with you. I'd like to do more of this if you're interested." It was simple, direct, to the point, and didn't carry any extra expectations with it. I gave him an immediate yes. I'm interested. We're engaged now. Story 40. Had a girl ask me out once, and I said, "Sorry, I have a girlfriend," even though I didn't. And she, without missing a beat, said, "And I have a goldfish. Now that we both know about things that don't matter, do you want to get naked with me?" Needless to say, we were intimate 3 or 4 times a week for 6 months. Until she admitted she couldn't continue because she was getting married the next week to the guy she had been with for 3 years. Story 41. Probably around 40 years ago, I was in a private club. A very attractive, slightly older woman came over and asked, "Where do you live?" I told her. "Well, you won't be sleeping there tonight," she said. She was correct. Story 42. While having some friendly banter with a female friend, I said something like, "There's an old saying, the perfect wife should be a chef in the kitchen and a whore between the sheets." Her reply, "Maybe I should take some cooking lessons." She became my girlfriend for 3 years, then cheated on me. Turns out she really was a whore. Story 43. We were comparing our phones. We met at an electronics store, and she said my phone would look better with her number in it. Smooth as anything. We didn't last long, but we were teens. Story 44. It wasn't actually directed towards me, but at the person I was speaking with while seated at a bar. This guy walks up out of nowhere and says to this person standing next to me, "Hey man, if you're not going to kiss her, I am." He said it with such confidence and arrogance that the person walked away, and then I dated the guy with the pickup line for 6 weeks. He was really, really fun.